Welcome world to another episode of Leadership Lessons. I am your host Louis Howell, and here with the man himself, Mr. Keshav Bhatt. How you doing, my friend?
What's going on?
Yes, good
you
to
got
see
the host power again.
I know, you had it for the last two episodes.
Yeah.
No, that can't continue. I'm sorry, man. I love you, bro, but that can't continue. This is my house. But anyway, we are joined by an amazing guest. We're going to introduce her in a short moment. We're excited. But Kesh,
before we get started, she's come with an amazing gift. So we've got a new round of the subscriber giveaway, and it's a signed copy of our amazing guest's new book. She is a #1 best-selling author on Amazon, and it's a signed copy. Did I mention that?
You did mention.
Tell us a quick bite-sized version of what's in here.
Absolutely. So that's my journey, going from please love me, well, please love me, validate me, who am I, to, do you know what, forget this is not working, this is who I am, boom. And that's the end of that story. So it's the whole journey and all the ups and downs, and every woman, every man can really relate to a lot of those stories in it. People have read it in 2 hours.
Wow.
Literally, like they cannot put it down.
I know it's a great book because of this quote. When the flower comes, the bee. When the flower blossoms, the bee comes. That's such a great quote.
And it's so in line with Revolution Hive as well. So
exactly.
The name of the book is Blossom and Become, and you can get it at all of your usual outlets.
So if you want to be involved in winning a signed copy, make sure you're a subscriber. So hit the subscribe button down below and comment and let us know what you think of this episode. And speaking of which, I want to get right into it because we had so many questions. I can't even introduce you yet because I know everyone watching is wondering, how do I create an amazing, incredible relationship that lasts? So the first question, and this is a really interesting one from Janky, she's asking, do you believe that if two people are not prioritizing each other's needs before marriage or before a relationship, that they will after?
That is an awesome, fantastic question. And I think one of the biggest delusions that human beings have, and I think women do this particularly a lot, is that they think they fix a guy after they marry him.
Wow.
They think they can change a guy. No, I don't like him. He's not fully there. But once we get in a relationship, I'll get him and then I can change him. No. The key is before you go into that relationship, before you go into marriage, it is vital, #1, that you're clear what your values are, what their values are. And if they're aligned, if those, i.e., if your needs are being met beforehand, they're very, very much more likely to be met whilst in that marriage. We have a saying that says, you know at breakfast what lunch is going to be.
Wait. We're 3 minutes in. The fire extinguisher. I will walk off set. I'll get the fire extinguisher right now and put out fires. I'm not joking.
So expand that for us. What does that mean?
You go to a beautiful, I don't know, let's say you're staying at a B&B or you're staying at a hotel.
Yes.
The moment you walk in and you sit down and you have breakfast, already the quality of the breakfast, the quality with which you are being served will tell you, will give you a massive, it's the best indicator to how lunch is going to be served and the quality of lunch, right? In the same way, do not expect people to massively change their quality and their ability to prioritize your needs before and after. So your breakfast, i.e. your first date, your second date, your third date, your first few months, 6 months to a year, prior to any major commitment, that is breakfast.
Yeah.
That is telling you what lunch is going to be like. And hopefully it should really get better and better. If breakfast is good, then lunch should be better.
No, you've mentioned international bestseller, you've mentioned but you need a proper introduction now. Kesh, please.
So I wanted to get straight into the question because that's what everyone wanted to know, right? And what a great introduction.
Definitely.
So just tell us a bit more about the kind of stuff that you do. So Anna is a relationship coach. You work with people at the beginning, middle, end, the whole cycle of their relationship journey. But a lot of that, I understand, started with you, and some of that is in the book.
Totally.
So tell us a bit more about what you're up to right now and the main kind of work that you're doing with your clients and these big seminars that you're running, which look super fun. Like, we would love to come and check those out.
Have to.
Tell us more.
You can come, and actually you can come and join crew on the day because that's the only way men can actually come.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So it's just for women.
You can come as film, as part of the camera crew. You can come and
We'll work something out.
It is for women, and it's not about excluding men. It's just naturally, organically grown that way. So I've been a facilitator now for the last 14 years, and it just naturally developed. So I developed a program within the education system many years ago called Discover Me, and that was for mothers, for quite vulnerable mothers. And so naturally what happened was the program began to develop. I started working with staff members of school, and then a lot of professionals started just looking into this and going, well, and I can't access your programs when you're in a school. Can you please go public?
Yes.
So last year we went public, and that's where Relationships Intensive was born.
Right.
And so what we do is run it on a Saturday, which means that anyone who can come along on a Saturday is more likely. And it's called Relationships Intensive, and it's a free event. It's a complimentary event, and it means it's a taster session.
Yeah.
So people come along, we have a lot of fun. We look at what are the main types of relationships, and mostly women sit there going, "Oh my God, that is so me." No, don't say yes, but no.
Yeah.
I've got an interesting question for you. I just want to throw it out there that I just remembered. So I was watching a video online recently of another relationship coach who was having a discussion in his seminar, and the question was, on the first date, who should pay?
Wow.
The man or the woman?
Wow.
What do you think?
I find these questions so interesting.
Nice one. This is a really good one. And I think the question more so is, what are your values and what is important to you? And I think your first date will show you whether you're aligned or not, okay? I'm a Latino girl. So as much as I'm British, there are things that, so I'm very much equal opportunities, blah, blah, but there are things where I like a man to be a gentleman, okay?
Of course, fair enough.
For me, that's my value, but I'm not saying it's the right one. So I'm not saying he should or she shouldn't. No. What is important to you and how do you want to be loved?
Yeah.
This is the thing. People forget that what's important is how do you want to love and how do you want to be loved? And I think that's really important from the get-go. So if I'm going on a date, if I'm expected to bring out my wallet, that ain't happening again. That's just me though, okay? That's just me. There'll be people who completely disagree with that. But I think it's important that I have girlfriends who are all about 50-50. Great. And if in their relationship they want to be 50-50, fantastic. But I'm the same kind of woman that by the same token, there are things I'll be like, no, let me do that. Let me love you up. Because I'm Latino, I can't help it. I was brought up like that, I'm quite happy to put my, apron on and cook dinner on a Sunday afternoon. I'm quite cool with that, But then, so I like a bit of chivalry. That's personal to me, but it's not wrong or right. Does that answer?
It's about balance, isn't it? I think what's amazing there is that, as people, we often find that people tend to fall on one side of the spectrum or the other. So either they're great givers and not very good receivers, or they're great receivers and not very good givers. But I think what you're talking about there is knowing where you are, not only willing, but also able to give effectively. So I think sometimes what we find is people find challenges in their relationships when they try to give in an area where they must just accept, I'm not actually very good at giving in this area. And I think being able to hold your hands up and say, I'm not great at giving in this area, but when we get to the area where I'm able to give, I'm going all in. And by the same token, also being able to be open and say, you know what, I really do like when you do this, and I'm willing to receive that. Because what I've come to realize is, and I probably was someone who did this quite a lot when I first got into my relationship, was I often, maybe I still do it, but I often resisted an opportunity for my partner to give. So me and my girlfriend have this thing all the time where I'll eat, and she'll be ready to get up and she'll want to take my plate, and I will never let her take my plate. Because in my head, that's not what I want you to do. I want you to relax, I can pick up I'll wash your dishes. But then I started to realize, am I resisting giving her the opportunity to feel as if she's given me something? And I had to then become more conscious of that, because maybe I was getting in the way of her being able to feel as if she did something for me. And that can sometimes be just as detrimental as potentially just not giving altogether. So that was it. So that was just, it made me think of that as you said it.
That is beautiful. Because then people complain that they're either given too much and they're not receiving enough, or vice versa. There's always this complaining. And I think what's really important is, what's your intention behind your action? So sometimes we give with the intention of, I want to win one over you, or I'm better than you, or whatever. And when you need to check, because even if that person is consciously aware of it or not, they can feel it. They can sense where your intention is coming from. Really important. And then when you check your intention, actually what's happening is most of our behavior is down to our limiting beliefs. So a lot of time, the reason why you weren't willing to receive, there's about 12 universal limiting beliefs, okay? One of them is, I'm unworthy, I'm unlovable. When you feel, and you won't go around walking and saying this, but when you feel at a certain degree that you're unworthy, you're unlovable, you will find it very difficult to receive from somebody else, because you're unworthy,
That's it.
But when we don't know that, we're constantly going, no, I'm all right, I can do this by myself, right?
Yeah.
And actually what we're stopping is people from loving us, right? So all we want is love and approval, because we're unworthy, right? But then the moment that we receive love and approval, we reject it. Isn't that crazy? So this is what we do. And do you want to guess what percentage of our behavior we're actually completely unaware of? And it it kind of feeds into our relationships. Have a little wild guess. What percentage of our relationships?
And before she says the answer, comment below.
Sure, let's
know.
see, because if people get this right, listen, I'm telling you, someone's gonna cheat and they're gonna be like, oh, I knew it was this percentage, and it's like, no, you watched it and then you commented. Like, come on. I'm gonna go 70%.
70%.
It's quite high.
What would you say, Kesh?
How much we're unaware of.
Yeah, so it's it's the fact that, for example, you were doing that.
What
Why
happens
were
that's
you doing
subconscious,
that?
yeah.
From the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, there's an undercurrent. So there's who you say you are. I want a committed relationship. I want to love and connect. But then you end up doing all this other load of stuff, and you're like, why do I keep doing that?
Yeah.
Right? What percentage of your behavior would you say is actually undercurrent?
So before I answer, can I tell you a quick story?
Go on.
So they actually got a group of neuroscientists together a couple of years ago, and their task was to research what percentage of your mind and your behaviors are driven by your conscious mind and by your subconscious mind. And so they went away, they did lots of different tests and studies and surveys, and then they were presenting their findings to the audience that had gathered at their press conference. And they said, okay, this is what we found. And everyone just went silent. They didn't really understand what they'd explained because it's quite advanced neuroscience. And so one of them got up and he said, someone bring me a flip chart. So he gets a flip chart. He says, okay, I want you to imagine that this piece of paper is your mind. I'm now going to shade in how much is your conscious mind. And he literally just put a dot.
Put a dot. Yeah.
So that's my answer. I don't know what percentage.
I love that.
But
absolutely, at the least 95%.
There you go.
95%. So when I speak with women and they're saying, and they're moaning and they're telling me their story, and all, I say to them, just give me a little wild guess as to how much of your behaviour you're actually not aware of.
Yeah.
They go, I don't know. And I said, are you sitting down? She'll go, yeah. I said, are you ready? Yeah. Sometimes I even get them to give me a drum roll, right?
Yeah.
95% you go, you're kidding me. No, I'm not. But it explains why we're in such a mess when it comes to our relationships.
100%.
It really explains why we struggle and why we keep saying we want one thing and we keep getting another thing.
That's it.
You know?
Because I think, and that explains it perfectly, because I know you spoke about intentions. My intention for not letting you take my plate is I didn't ever want you to feel as if I see you as someone that should. So I'm almost, because I have this thing, I strive for perfection. And I know everybody says, oh yeah, but nobody's perfect. I'm like, yeah, but I can get very close. Do you know what I mean? That's just my personal belief, is I can get very close. Do you know what I mean? And so in my mind, that I saw that as perfection, when really and truly being able to be gracious when someone does something for you is actually a lot more powerful than just trying to do stuff yourself and not allowing that person to give. So then that's what I had to come to realize. So what I was doing subconsciously was striving for perfection, but actually I was misguided. And so that was the biggest challenge. So yeah.
And I think that's a thanks for the cut moment.
Yeah.
Because what one of the things that I got from Brené Brown, we were talking about daring greatly earlier, is it's an incredible book, and it's up
there. Yeah, no, don't worry, we're borrowing that after. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
Make sure you
Sorry,
go read
Balderton.
that if you
Sorry,
haven't.
Balderton.
And she talks about being worthy, and that you're only going to accept the level of love that you have within you.
Yeah.
So if you've only got a shot glass, that's what you'll accept.
Yeah.
Whereas if you've got an entire ocean, that's what you'll accept. And sometimes with love languages especially, some people's capacity is that and some is a lot larger, and that's where there's a disparity. And that's, I think, you really need to know yourself and what breakfast you're serving and with what intent versus what you're receiving as well. So some really, really powerful ideas already.
Let's get on to the next
I want to
question,
get on to
man.
the big question that we've got, that a couple of people asked.
Yeah, Kishan and Mamnoon, you guys definitely did it strong here.
I'm just going to read it as they kind of described it. So these are two young gentlemen who are part of our community, who are quite active on Facebook and stuff. How much advice should you really take on relationships before you get into one? Or do you just learn from your own experiences, because not all relationships are the same? So that was the first kind of, I put them two together. And the next one is the chunky one, which everyone's kind of asking, how do you pick a good person to be in a relationship with? I mean, guys nowadays chase after girls who only have the looks but suck at everything else. I mean, what qualities should you look for and which to avoid to have a quality relationship? Something along those lines, but you get my point.
I get
So
your
the first
point.
one was about, how much advice did you take on and honoring your own experience and the uniqueness of every interaction and relationship. And that second one is like, how do I pick the right person?
Yeah, awesome. So the first one, both points are absolutely right. I believe that you want to get, why not? Why not learn from other people's mistakes? You know, we go through certain ages where our parents are telling us and we don't listen. And, you know, we get to a stage and say, oh, I should have listened to my mama. I wish I'd listened to my mother. Why did I not listen to my mother? But then on the other hand, there is nothing like your own experience. And every single person has their own thumbprint. If you look at your thumbprint, guys, it's totally different. Your thumbprint will be completely different to mine, completely different to yours. In the same way, my journey is completely different. Yeah. And so therefore, the people that I will have aligning with me on my journey are going to provide me the lessons and the experiences that I need from my journey, right? And so I cannot expect someone on another journey to give me the precise advice that I need. However, it can prevent me a lot of issues because we can learn so much. So I would say it's a bit of both. You cannot replace your own experience. You cannot, you could read books and experience lots of workshops and seminars, but nothing's going to beat you swimming. We can talk about swimming the whole time, but if you don't jump in the pool, it ain't happening, right? So a bit of both. Something really important about listening to other people's advice as well, though. Please be wary that people will project their fears onto you. You need to learn to intuit, and you need to learn to be guided by your own heart.
That's such an important point.
Have you got any example? Because I was about to jump in with another example from my relationship. But have you guys got any examples you'd like to share where people have projected fears onto you that you didn't actually feel then aligned with your experience after that?
Yeah, I give you the best one. You know, my older brother, 6 years older. We're very different human beings. You know, he's a
hey, big bro.
Hey, big bro. So I'm a CEO of my own organization. He's a CEO for a company. So his life is very different. City boy, all of that. He had the 2.5 kids, got married. I did life completely differently, right? Yeah. So at the point where I was being trained up as a facilitator within a company, so that was my first job after uni, and I was doing really well, and I was going up and down the country training people up, and then my soul began to say, there has to be more to this.
Yes.
And I took a massive leap of faith, and it was to jump out of that security and set up my own company.
Of course.
And I remember sitting in front of my brother having lunch, and he was freaking out. He's like, seriously, is this such a good idea? Is this really good? You're doing so well. Why?
Yeah.
You know, because he's got his secure job and he's doing really well, and he has done. It's paid off really well for him.
Yeah.
Had I done what he was doing, that would not have paid off well for me, because that's not how my soul speaks.
Of course.
So for me now, today, last night we were having dinner, funnily enough, and he's just looking at me going, wow. I handed him over my copy of my book and I signed it for him and I said, bro, thank you for being such a massive co-creator. You know, don't get me wrong, he saved my butt many times, right? I've needed him there a lot of times. But I can look back at that conversation and I thank goodness that as much as I loved him and I took my hat off to him all my life, he was my greatest role model, that was a moment where I had to listen within and go, nah, that's his stuff. My journey is what I need to follow. And that took great courage, because every step of the way I was like, oh, if I mess up, he's going to go, told you so. And, there were moments where I'm like, oh my goodness, he's going to tell me I told you so. And, I've had those conversations with him, and I say, my mentor asked me once, what's your greatest fear? And I said, to have to tell my brother face to face, I'm broke. That would be my greatest fear. Forget being broke, forget anything. And I once spoke to my brother about that, and he goes, no, I'm just so freaking proud of every single step you've taken. And, I know he's grateful that I didn't listen to him, you see? So it's so important to follow your own heart. It's so important to learn to do that, because every time you do that, you listen to that inner voice. Not this one, I call her Lolita, she never shuts up. I'm talking about this one that comes from in here, and it just like, and it overwhelms you. You know that one?
That's it.
That one. And the more you listen to it, the louder it gets and the easier it just becomes, and life just flows, So that's what I would say. That's
the key thing there is that people react to their own experience rather than the situation itself, and that's such a great example of that.
But it's true, because it's like we've said it many times before. People don't listen to understand; they just listen to respond. So you'll give them the situation, but they won't then try to delve further so they can think critically as to how you came to the decision that you've made, or what experiences you may have had that have caused you to think in this way, and then do a comparison between your experience and theirs before they then try to give advice. And so this is the issue that I have, is that a lot of people like to speak in order to be heard, as opposed to speaking in order to actually advise and to give value. And that's the biggest issue, and it just made me think of my granny at one point there. So my dad's mom, she does some funny stuff, man. I remember when she was saying to my dad's sister, when she was saying that she was gonna go to university, she was like, why you spend so much money for university? You don't need them thing there. And then she got a degree, and then she got into the nursing field, and then she's like, and now you want to do masters? Why you want to do masters? And then now she's like, it's a good thing, man, like get her masters, you know, because as things change, she have managerial position now. It's a good thing she get her masters. And I'm like, but Granny, you wasn't saying that before. Do you know what I mean? Like, same with my uncle. Same with my uncle, and she was like, why you want to spend so much money and buy 2 houses? You need 1 house for living, you don't need a second house. And then when the property market changed and you had houses to sell and houses to rent out, she's like, it's a good thing you have property, you know. You have to invest in a property, you know. It's like, but Granny, it wasn't. It's funny, man. It's funny, Granny. You know, shout out Granny, man. I need to come see you very soon before you go back to Jamaica this year. I'm telling you, man.
I was just saying, I love that example because I believe that when it comes to our relationship or any endeavor, I think society, our friends, with all the best will in their heart, they play the same role.
Yeah.
Do you know the crab in the bucket analogy, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, they
100%.
have all the best intentions.
And the one that jars me the most is we were talking about this, the honeymoon period.
Oh, get out of here.
Don't ever talk to me about the honeymoon period because in my mind it doesn't exist. You create your reality. So
Yeah.
it's one of those beliefs, right? That's rampant that you have a high and then you're just inevitably gonna have a dip. No, why does that have to be my reality? Like I'm in charge, not you.
That's it.
And we were talking about this on a previous episode that when I breathe, air goes into my lungs and my lungs only. So thank you for your opinion, but see you later.
Yeah, that's
this is what I'm doing.
That's it. And that's exactly why when you talk about your quote of, you know, the fact that bees only take what they need from certain flowers, that's why when some people speak, listen, I've been saying this to young people, I've been saying this to young people in sessions for years now. I genuinely believe the best word in this language is okay. Like when someone speaks to me and gives me advice, okay. Sometimes I don't even say thank you, okay. What do you want me to do now? Just nullify everything and then I'll move on. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to hang on to you every word. Just, okay, that's it, done. But yeah, anyway, the second half of the question, of course, was around
finding the right
individuals.
How
what
do
are
you
your
know?
views and would you like to share on that?
I love that question.
I'm sure you must get this
All the time.
all the time.
Oh, yeah,
All the
without
time.
I know I do. So
Look, I have to tell my own story with this, yeah?
please do.
Please do. Guys, listen in.
I was in my mid-20s and I'd just broken up with a 5-year relationship. I was absolutely heartbroken. I was like, how am I ever going to live without you? And how am I ever going to, totally codependent, blah, blah, blah. And I remember listening, I was given a tape by, back then it was like tape, I'm sure, but I'm revealing my age, by Anthony Robbins. And he was talking about the list, we all have a list of the kind of person we want to attract into our work, right?
Yeah.
And so he says, so first thing you're going to do is you're going to write down this list. I pause the tape and I'm like writing and I'm writing. This list went on forever, right? Confident, leader, enthusiastic, inspiring, aspiring, ambitious, blah, blah, blah. And then I unpause the tape and he goes, great, now look through your list. Now, you become that list.
Yeah. Bang.
I was horrified. I was mortified. I was angry. I was infuriated. How dare you tell me that I need to become this person?
Yeah.
That goes to show where I was then. Like I really was expecting that somebody outside of me was meant to give me what was missing for me. And it took me 10 years to get it. But within 10 years, I became, I got it. Like you cannot ask for that which you are not already. In fact, in life, anything you want, you become it first. This is why I believe in blossoming. You become, and then the B comes. The B meaning relationship, the B meaning opportunity, the B meaning alliances, business, anything, until you blossom. I really believe you just need to become and the world begins to see you. That's all.
And I think sometimes
you need to become, and the world begins to see you. Hey, listen, sorry, this is emotional. Yeah, go on.
Sometimes it's difficult to digest that because for someone who's not in that mindset, it's so alien to them. But the fact that we're sat here is an example of that.
Yes.
You wouldn't have even bothered replying to me if I wasn't demonstrating, my track record and what we do. You've looked us up. We've looked you up. It's the same thing. So. These are the things that I think often people want those practical techniques and like, what do I wear? Like, how do I command charisma and everything? But those things come through you and they're not you entirely.
That's why principles must come first. And so that's it. So the principle is you need to grow. You need to become someone that loves yourself and then you are able to attract and receive love, you know? But it'd be great to hear from some of you guys in the comments below that potentially have made that transition from not necessarily being successful when it comes to relationships, or in your opinion being successful, to then becoming successful. What did you have to do? What did you have to do in terms of you as an individual in order to make that transition? I mean, I don't know if you guys have anything you want to share. I mean, I'm sure there's a number of things we've all had to do to grow, but was there anything in particular that you felt, yeah, when I developed this characteristic or trait or mindset, it helped you to make that transition?
I think for me, everything changed when my focus changed.
Okay.
So I did that same program, and one of the things that he says is, okay, now, what are your musts? So what are the non-negotiables? And then just learn practical things like, well, she has to be vegetarian because I don't really like the smell of meat, and that's just me. That's what I'm choosing, right? But then also, when you turn the page and you look at, well, what do you need to become? Who do you need to become? How do you be the right person? It was just a complete shift of, I have to be inspiring. Like, how do I even do that? But then somewhere along the line, it does sink in, and you do begin doing things that create the kind of reality and ultimately the personality that you want to blossom and become, right?
That's beautiful.
But I think the key thing is just stop asking, like, are you the right person? Just be the right person. And
That's it.
when you own your half of the street and your 50%, that's such an empowering place to be, because you're not pointing the finger like, where is the help that I need? It's all about looking in the mirror rather than out the window, right? Yeah. And I know you know what.
Of course, 100%. It came to me straight away, but I wanted to let Anna answer as well because the question was directed at both of you. But I knew exactly.
So we're complete junkies of like self-growth, personal development. Sometimes we just slip into a video that we watched like 5 years ago, and we both know that video. So that's what I'm referencing there. And if you know which one it is,
comment.
That's comment down below. I'll be very impressed if you know
someone
that
gets
reference.
that. That's it. But sorry, Anna.
Yeah. So to answer that question, really, it's let's start without the question is, how do I find the right person, right? In essence, let's find the right you first. And that's where it all needs to start. The problem is the reason why people end up with the wrong person. By the way, I don't ever believe there's a wrong person. There's just, you're living on your bus of life. People come on and off your bus at different times. The problem is we then hold on to people. We stand at the door and we're not letting someone off, because how can I live without you? And we're forgetting that actually not letting that person off, we're not letting the right people on at the time. So there is no wrong or right. There's always someone who comes to teach you a lesson. They come to co-create with you at the same time. But I really do believe this. How could I possibly find the ideal person for me if I don't know, one, who I am, and I don't know, two, what's important to me? The first scene in this book is a scene literally where I scream this person's name out because he's about to punch me in the face, and it felt as if an angel had just grabbed his arm and held it back.
Wow.
That's the beginning of that book. How on earth did I, Anna Garcia, end up in a situation like that where a relationship became so abusive, it got to the point where he was about to punch me in the face, and something just stopped him. And in that moment I got, okay, I am certainly in the wrong place. And the reason why I was in the wrong place is I didn't know who I was. And therefore I didn't know what my values were. So how was I possibly going to detect it in somebody else? In a simple 5-minute conversation, less than 5 minutes, I can tell exactly what your top values are. Just by a simple conversation, I can tell what your top values are. Imagine the lack of knowing myself, that I ended up with someone so completely different. So completely that we were just completely frustrated with each other, angry at each other all the time and arguing. And that is as a result of, I didn't know, one, who I was, two, what my values were, and three, how did I want to be loved? And sometimes because we have such lack of love, we forget that actually, no, hang on a minute, this is how I would love to be loved. Okay, so if that's how I would love to be loved, this is how I'm going to start loving people.
There you go.
You know?
There you go.
Talking about what was my main turning point, to answer your question, what was my main turning point? For me was, and I'm really inspired by the other Steve from Apple. Wozniak?
Yeah.
He said at one point, to paraphrase, not perfectly, but he said at one point he decided he wanted to be great with everybody, regardless of however they were with him. And that has been life-changing for me. So wherever I go, people can just show up however they show up, and I have minimal judgment. So if they're going, interesting.
That's it. Okay.
Interesting.
Okay.
Like the okay, right?
Okay.
Like the okay. Yeah. And I just choose to be great with you regardless.
That's
so
it.
I'm on the phone all day, every day. So hundreds of people register onto my program, right? I intend to call every single one up because I just want to welcome them and just find out. We don't get to connect on a one-on-one at the program, right? So let's have a chat. And you'll be surprised. Sometimes I get, oh my God, I just saw you on YouTube. Oh, you really calling me? And sometimes I'm like, yeah, what do you want?
Yeah.
See, number one, you can't take things personally at all.
Yeah.
And I'm like, listen, the reason for my call is because blah, 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 blah. And they gradually start to chill out and they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I've had that one.
You know, but if you resist with your own ego, that's why I love to go Vigo. Yeah?
Okay.
So removing at the feast of ego, everybody leaves hungry. So what if we come up with...
Get that fire extinguisher right now. Don't get me angry. Go and get that fire extinguisher. No, wait. Did you guys just... Nah, wait. Sorry, continue. They shouldn't let me on the show anymore, you know.
At the feast of ego, everybody leaves hungry. So the other day I put this quote up, it went crazy. And I said, oh my goodness, what if we all went Vigo?
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, that's it.
like, you know, and it's like, I know the day that we stop having ego full stop, we'll probably disappear like the Buddhas, like Krishnas and Jesus Christ and all that. That's not our intention right now, but it is a work in progress. And the more that we let go of those sheds of ego, the more I can connect with you. That's the problem. One of the reasons that we also end up with the wrong type of people. We want to impress people, or we feel insecure, we must be with somebody, it's better than not being with anybody, and so we end up making different types of decisions because of ego. So the more we shed that, also the better relationships we'll have. So hopefully that answers that question. Starts with you.
I think I just did some mathematical equations and realised that from the 400 people that existed in primary school that I went to whilst I was there, probably speak to 3 now. You know, like, I started to realise that people genuinely do come and go. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, you get a couple people that are trying to stand on the stairs in your bus. You know what I'm saying? You're like, listen, get off the stairs, yeah. And then after a while, they want to get off the bus. And that's like, cool. You don't want to stay, yeah. Do you know what I mean? But I think what you said was great. And like, I'm going to try and find something so cool here. But like, I think you will not know who to let on and who to let off if you don't know the destination of your bus. Do you know what I mean? If there's nothing on the front. I know. I'm getting it. I just stimulated me, bro. Yeah. So
What happened?
I don't know.
What just happened?
I don't know, bro. I don't know.
Go write a book right now, please. Go write a book.
What's the time limit? Nah, I got a couple meetings today, you know. I got a meeting at 3 and that. Anyway,
Cancel the meetings.
But yeah, so you just know the destination of your bus, because then people don't know whether they want to get on or not. Do you know what I mean? So that's what it is. You've got to be able to portray at the front of that bus where you're going and the type of bus that you're actually going to drive, you know? So that's exactly what it is.
Oh my goodness, I love that. And I think that is pivotal. When you know yourself, I know what bus you're driving, what your destination is. It's funny, but the people at the bus stops change. The moment you shift your energetically, the moment you shift and you build clarity, you know what? The day I stopped like messing about and I decided, you know what, I'm on a mission. I came here to transform X amount of lives. Done. It's like half my phone book just went because they are no longer aligned with me, and that's cool. I just chose for the next 2 to 5 years. This is my focus, my number one. You're on or you're off. Cool. I'm good with that. You know, and it's about becoming independent of the opinion of lots of people as well. You know, the crabs in the bucket. You know, going back to that. So when you're clear of what your destination is, it's really powerful. I love that because the people that show up at your bus stops are the people that are going on that same journey, and the clearer you are. It's like anything in marketing and business. The clearer you are with your message, the more people can align with it, right? A lot of time people don't know what message it is that they're putting out there in the world, so people don't know where to place them. It's like, know what your message is and stay focused, right? Yeah. And it allows you to
What got you to that moment? of just deciding, I'm taking it seriously. I'm done.
Yeah.
Because that's a really powerful moment. And when you make that decision, it's done. You're just waiting for the world to find out.
Yeah.
You've already spoken in front of all those women and empowered them, but what was it that got you to that point?
I love that question. Do you know, I think we're motivated by two things. You know this, right? We're motivated by pain, or we're motivated by something that really inspires us, by excitement, or that. It got to a pain point. It got to enough now. Enough trying to impress your family, your friends, whoever, living by everybody else. What is it that you came here to do? And it was just like, oh my goodness. And I think it began when I started seeing a difference I could make in people's lives. And I said, you're just getting yourself in the way of this happening. And the more you get yourself out of the way, the more people you're going to be able to reach. So seriously, like, what's getting in between you and getting on the phone? What's getting in between you and, getting yourself out there? Because there is a lot of concern, right? The more this is, every time you go live, you run a risk of looking really bad, or you run a risk of being criticized. You're always running a risk. And the moment I said, you know what, enough. I'm tired, because I was literally running with the brakes on. I was literally running the car with the brakes on, and then I just went, enough. Let that brake go. And yeah, so it was a pain point. It was seeing how much you could do, but you weren't doing it. I wasn't honoring my journey. And I think, I was saying to a friend, I was away on working holiday in Bali with a good friend, coach of mine, and she was all over the place. And I said, you know what the problem is? She's quite a Christian. I said, it's blasphemy. She goes, what? And I read it here. She goes, what's it? I said, it's blasphemy that you're not playing 150%. That is the greatest blasphemy, because you're not living to your greatest based expression of who you are.
That's how I feel as well.
Right? Yeah. That is the greatest blasphemy. That is the greatest blasphemy, is that you're not living to your greatest. So when you're not living the relationship that you really love, that's a form of blasphemy for me, because I believe that you have the birth-given right.
That's it.
To live your greatest expression in every area of your life.
100%. I mean, one of my favorite motivational speakers, and Keshav will know, but he says it as well. He's like, oh, so you thought when I said 120, you thought I just meant at work? He's like, no. He's like, why are you giving 120% at work? You're holding the door open for the women in the office. But then when you get home, your wife's getting 50%. What? She made you a meal, you didn't say thank you. What? You got home and you had no energy. No. You're going to a next job. This is your next job now.
Yeah,
let's go. Do you know what I mean? Let's go.
Like, you better spend 5 minutes sat in your car before you go through that door
and prepare yourself.
And just think about, your day hasn't ended.
Wow.
That's
so
it.
You do what you need to do to recalibrate your energy and show up just as powerfully as you did at work, because it is not acceptable.
Yeah.
No, I don't care if you work 7 hours, 8 hours, 9 hours, for you to then go home and say, I'm tired, I want to go sleep.
You complain you don't have a good relationship with your kids. That's because some dude up the street loving on your son more than you loving on him. Some dude up the street is telling your daughter that she's cute and you ain't saying it.
And if you can guess which speaker is on about, comment down below.
I love that guy.
Triple double.
20.
I love that guy.
So the next question.
Can I add to that from the female perspective? Yeah. Men with the ladies, part of that 5 minutes, I love that. Please also allow your power woman, if she's a powerful woman, she's in the industry or whatever, allow her 30 minutes. She needs 30 minutes to go from, and this is really important, I'm about to drop one.
Be ready.
Dynamic energy is the male energy, and women, we are being encouraged more and more and trained more and more in our jobs and our work to go into dynamic energy. When we come home, we need to be in our magnetic energy, or if we're dating, or if we're with our man, we need to go back into our magnetic energy, and that's the female energy. Okay, so I'm a powerhouse, yes, and I'm like, the whole day, and then I come home, it's like, whoa, hang on a minute. I need 30 minutes. Whether that's a bubble bath, time with my favorite book, with my girlfriend on the phone, I need time to go zzz and realign. You cannot expect me to go from dynamic energy to magnetic energy like that through walking through the door. Yeah, so please allow your woman, if you have children, take the kids out to the park for half an hour. Do whatever you need to do.
I just want to pick up also on, you said your woman.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Because I know some people might hear that and think patriarchy, ownership, but you're talking about a different...
Oh, for good, yes. Oh my goodness. And do you know what? Because someone who doesn't have an issue with that, they won't even pick up on it.
Definitely.
Do you see that?
Definitely.
So we can become really like stuck on words, right? And say, oh, she's this or she's that. Now, when I'm saying your woman, I'm talking about the woman that you're coming home to, whoever that is. It could be your daughter. It could be your auntie. It could be your nan. That's a really good point. I love that you made that point. Really, really important. Give her 30 minutes. It could be anybody, any female in your life. Please give her that time.
I think the deeper thing here that we're talking about is being aware and engaged enough in any relationship that you're in, not just romantically, but just even if when I'm talking to you and you came in, making sure that you're aware enough to give that person a bit of space just to do whatever they need to do. Because often it can be like, hey, I'm here. just let her have her tea for a second.
Yeah.
It's cool.
I love that.
So I love what you're talking about there. It's just knowing, it's those boundaries, right? Knowing your own boundaries for where you need space and how much you need and what that looks like, and then asking for it. But also for somebody else and knowing, I've noticed that she needs a bubble bath before I can start, asking her what we're having, Chinese or Indian tonight.
It's so true.
But the next question is a great one from Rachel Flower. Thank you so much for this question, Rachel. what's the most important thing to teach children about developing and maintaining healthy relationships? And she said a bit more about this, which I thought I'd reference. These days, we see a lot of parents helicoptering in and trying to sort out their relationships for their kids. My experience is this often makes things worse, and kids are losing the ability to sort out their relationship issues themselves. I'm interested to know how and when parents can or should get involved, and when to stand back and teach from afar. I suspect there's much we can do to role model the learning too.
Yes, and I love that final bit she wrote. Yeah, because we are, each and every single one of us, parents or in any role, we are CEOs. We're the chief energy officer wherever we go. So
I love that, chief energy officer. Love it, brilliant.
So as parents, and I worked with parents for over 7 years. I'm not a parent myself, but I've worked with so many of them, and this is what I say to them: look, your children, have you noticed they never do what you tell them to do? And they're like, no. Have you noticed do they do what you do?
Oh,
Right? Yes.
definitely.
But there's another level. They become who you are. So if you're being confident,
Sorry, no, this is an emotional day, so yeah, continue, please, Anna, please.
You can go and get your notepad if you want.
Nah, it's okay. I will when I watch it back, 100%. Notepad, pen, everything.
if you're being confident, your child, you can expect to be confident. If you're being melodramatic in your relationships, if you're being a martyr, if you're being a victim, you can expect your children to develop that. They literally have, we all have mirror neurons, and children have even more of them, right? So literally they are copying your behavior. They don't know anything else. So wherever you go, your energy introduces itself before you do. So in your relationships and everything you do, your children, no matter how much you're telling your children, you need to be like this. A woman telling her daughter, look, you need to make sure that the man respects you, and you need to make sure he respects your time and he respects it. But if she then sees you in the way that you're being is completely allowing someone to disrespect, that is actually what she's picking up.
Definitely.
Yeah. So it does definitely start there. And I love what she said about helicoptering. We see a lot of that. We see a lot of that nowadays, and it's all part of that fear of not letting children just grow up by themselves and do their own thing to a certain degree. They need to build those skills. Like, how many times do you need to let a toddler fall over?
Definitely.
Sometimes you need to let them burn a little bit. You need to let them hit themselves. You need to let them so they can say, oh, ouch, okay, that doesn't work. We need to let them, So I'm a total advocate that I have younger brothers and lots of nieces and nephews, and I'm very much the person that they can come to and they go, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, And it's funny how very often people don't really want advice.
Yeah.
They know the answer.
Yeah.
They know the answer. They just want to
They just
sound
want to be heard.
Yeah, they just want to be heard and got it.
But with the helicoptering in, it's like that story of the boy that saved the caterpillar, right? When the caterpillar was trying to, get into its cocoon and form into a butterfly, and it was struggling. So he thought, you can see the caterpillar struggling. He cut the caterpillar out, and then actually what he did is he stopped that caterpillar having the opportunity to go through that pain, to then get into that cocoon, to then metamorphosize and become a butterfly. He's now stopped that happening. So sometimes parents, you need to let your child feel pain.
Yes.
Like, you need to let your child feel down, and that's okay. And you understand that your natural reaction and that natural response is to try and help. But sometimes it's okay to just step back and give them some space to operate. Unless, of course, it's like putting their life at risk, then that's slightly different.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
I love that. You see, because in life, pain is mandatory. Suffering is optional.
This is great.
Pain is mandatory. Suffering is optional. And as parents sometimes, or as people, it's like we suffer for something. It's like, it's okay to have pain. We make it wrong. There is, it's just part of the process. A breakup is the most natural thing, There has to be pain. Or, letting someone go, or mourning or grieving somebody, it's a natural process, Another story I have in there, by the time I was 20, I'd been married, divorced, and lost a child. My daughter, she would have been 19 2 days ago. And that was a day where I just allowed grief to just come up. And there's just this pain. Like, did you see that? And it's just this pain, just allowing it to just come up. And it's okay. But for so many years, I made it wrong. It's like, seriously, Anna, it's been 8 years. You're still crying about it. And I made it wrong. And actually, now it's like I can celebrate that life. And I can also be with the pain that comes up when I think, what kind of arguments would we have? What would it be like? What would she be like? What kind of worries would I have right now with a 19-year-old? Oh my God, would we be, discussing this and that? Would she be my bestie? Would we kind of not, I don't know.
Yeah.
So that causes a bit of nostalgia. It can cause a bit of, wow, and it's about allowing yourself to be with that. And then you know Rumi, right?
Yeah.
You know that poem about the guest house? Do you guys know the poem of the guest? It's just beautiful, right? Kind of goes
Please
a little
share
bit
it,
like,
though,
yeah,
yeah.
it kind of goes a little bit like this. Every morning you are like a guest house, and at the door you get a new guest, and it could be sadness, it could be anger, it could be rage, it could be desperation, it could be joy. What you do is you open the door, you allow that guest in, you dine with the guest, and then you let it out the back door at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And every day we have different guests. And the less we resist them, the more we just allow them to just be, the more they just come and they go, and they come and they go, because emotions are just coming and going, right?
Yeah.
And that's what pain is. And I think with children, it's so important to teach them that it's okay. You're going through a painful process. That's cool. And I don't want to helicopter in and save you, because then I'm making you, I'm incapacitating you. And very often we do that.
The helicoptering it is more about you than them as well, because often I think it's the ego thing, right? My children or my mother, and so it's happening to me because you're an extension of me, so you need to think what I think, you need to do what I tell you to do. And actually the way and this is what I got from Khalil Gibran in The Prophet, where he talks about children. He says that they come through you but they're not of you. So they're just passing through, and they're also visitors, and your job is to raise them and kind of guide them. But if they turn out to be bad human beings, that's not a reflection of you. But so many times in life, when someone had a very human moment, we make it about us. That she didn't say hello to me properly, what a bitch, or whatever it might be. We make it so personal. I think, as you were saying earlier, there are no bad partners. They were having a human moment, and they didn't have the right, values and beliefs, or they weren't in tune with who they are, and so they behaved the way they did. Yeah. I'm sure with your partner, did he want to become that guy? Yeah. Probably not, but because of the level of self-awareness that he had, the education, the upbringing, all those different factors, you can understand that. Yeah, it's not okay, but I understand, and that's cool too.
Absolutely.
And it just, seeing it from that perspective, I love that guest house story, because it really, whenever I feel sadness, one of my really close friends passed away last year. I just would see it as like, oh, hey sadness, are you coming for tea? Like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, I got you. What are you saying today? Like, talk to me. And I'd literally imagine I'm just having a conversation with it, and I would give like little characters and stuff like Inside Out, because it just makes it more fun. Yeah. And often we don't do that. So we do have one more question.
Go for it.
From Kishan, and he asks, similar to the question that we started with, and also Brandon Kraft, who's always commenting on all our posts, so thanks Brandon, was asking, how do you sustain a good, healthy working relationship? What are the traits of a successful relationship?
I love that. I love that. There's two main things. There's tons, but there's two main things that
everyone watches like, there's just two? There's just two?
Two the most important ones.
Imagine if you're like, so there's 101.
I'll give you two.
If you want to win the prize, you know what to do. Subscribe, comment down below. But please do tell us.
Okay, so I think one of the things that we stop doing in relationships after a while is we stop choosing the people we love. Okay. I had a partner once say, he was a soulmate, I loved him so much, and he once turned around at the end of our relationship and he said, Anna, you love me, but you don't choose me.
Wow.
This is a man that wanted to marry me, this is a man that wanted to have children with me, but he was 11 years older. So I wasn't at a time that I was ready to have children or get married then, And it was just such a painful, because I loved him with all my heart, yet it just wasn't the right time. And it was just so painful. But what we do is on a daily basis, we can choose our partner. I choose you is very different. You need that as well as loving somebody. You can love somebody so much, but if you don't choose them, and by the way, how do we choose someone? If you let go of judgment. Yeah. But judgment is the biggest killer.
How do you let go of judgment?
Oh my goodness, how do we let go of judgment? Listen, because it's a creepy little sucker, isn't it, judgment? It just creeps in, it's part of the ego, right? It creeps in. And you start noticing things that you never used to notice before, right? So science does have a point, right, when it comes to the chemistry between couples, right? They state, and I really believe that we create our own relationships. This is part of the creating, okay? You choose every day. But there is a chemical difference within the first 2 years of a relationship, generally speaking, it's about 2 years. And then there's a chemical difference. So, it just changes. So that's when we really need to start choosing, and spotting the judgment. So it's just catching yourself when, and I get this all the time with women talking to me, like, I know, the same thing I used to love really annoys me now. Like the way he laughs. I'm like, oh, poor guy. The way he laughs, the jacket he wears. I bought that jacket for him. It's like, exactly, but that's not the person's issue. That is your stuff, and you're transferring it. You're projecting it onto that person, right? So little things like that, just observe yourself and go, that's your stuff. That's your just little things that begin to annoy you. Like, well, that's interesting. I wonder what things are annoying him or her about me. Yeah, so that's the first one. Choosing someone, and how you do that is you begin to just observe judgment and just let it go. Just observe. So in that moment, how do you let it go? Just look at what are you grateful for about that person in that moment. You start looking at what do you love about that person. Yeah. And it's so much easier. So what scientists have shown, people who specialize in relationship success, what they've actually found is that the couples that are most successful, they are constantly spotting. They're literally seeking. They're looking for that which really works in their relationship, that which they love about the person that they're with, that which they're really grateful about. Okay. Yeah, that's the first thing. And then here's the second point. This is really important. This is like super, super exciting stuff. You ready?
Yeah.
You see how right now I'm talking to you and you're turning towards me? Yeah. How many times though, just really hand on heart, being insightfully truthful, how many times does your family or your friends or your girlfriend, maybe your girlfriend's talking to you about something, or maybe you're on your phone at that moment, you're right in the middle of something, she goes, baby, Lily, guess what? And you're like, yeah. Right? Yeah, I've done that before.
Oh, definitely. I have done it.
Okay. Or how many times, maybe you're not even on the phone. Maybe you're just watching the telly, or maybe you're just doing whatever. I don't know. Whatever it is you're doing. Okay. What they've found is that successful relationships, they're called bids for connection, by the way. Every time she does that, she might be saying, oh, honey, look at the bird outside the window. Look at, isn't that lovely? Oh, anything it is, right? It's called a bid for connection.
Right.
So she actually literally, it's got nothing to do with the thing. She just wants to connect with you. Right? Now, successful relationships, what they did is they met, out of every 10 bids for connections, they met 7.
Okay.
Right? So instead of going, yeah, they were like, oh, they stopped what they were doing. And let me show you, what do you mean? Like, what is it? So in that moment, when you choose to connect with a person, that is meeting a bid for connection.
Definitely. Okay. This is amazing. Like, so it's scientific.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Someone's going to get a tracking sheet out now, right? Someone's going to start, like, literally, they're going to get a table and they're going to be like, right, bids for connection today. And then they're going to put all the situations, they're going to tick whether they actually met the bid for connection or not. This is going to be hilarious. No, but that's so powerful. And I think it's interesting because I know me, even down to, which is something really, really small, but when I speak to my girlfriend on the phone every night before bed, and it's funny because I know what time I want to go to sleep. So if it's anything close to that time when we first get on the phone, it's very likely that I'm not going to, it's not now. It used to be likely that I would just essentially maintain the conversation, but I knew I was purposely letting myself get tired to the point where it's like, babe, I'm going to sleep now. Whereas now what I do is I came to the conclusion, I said, that's quite selfish actually. And so I flipped it now to where I'll give a lot more energy and actually engage and maintain the conversation for as long as I can, because I know that I'm going to learn a lot from that. I know that I'm going to get a lot from she's engaged in that. And it's a real connection now, as opposed to just being routine or being a task that I must carry out. So that's very, very interesting actually. It's true, because we went to a talk on Sunday, and shout out to Temple Talks, by the way, for inviting us, which was called the science behind positive thinking, or the science of happiness, more specifically. And I came away because I went with my girlfriend, and I did say to her after, I said, baby, sometimes when you talk to me and I'm in the middle of doing something and I don't always necessarily give a very holistic answer, then I come back after and I say to you oh, let's continue having that conversation. You say, no, babe, it's fine, you're working. I said, how do you actually feel the first time I did it? Because I just wanted to get her genuine thoughts. And she was just very open and honest with me, and it just brought it to my attention, because I said, you know what, that's true, because what they spoke about in the talk is that we can actually the way in which we communicate with people can fall into different quadrants. So you can have people that are very constructive or destructive, and things like that. And so it was just amazing. It made me think, like, I need to be a lot more conscious and aware, because it's very easy when I'm doing work for her to see something online or for her to speak to someone and then want to share something with me, but I don't know how to break my focus. And so I'll just be like, oh yeah, that's good, babe. And I just carry on. Then I go, actually, no, that was an opportunity to actually have a quick connection and then go back. So yeah, it's true.
Yes. So we're saying that one of the main, kind of like, how do we maintain a really cool relationship is when you get a bid for connection. So when your partner says to you, honey, baby, look at this, take a look at that. Oh, what do you think about, in that moment, as much as you may be focused, now there's conversations around focus and we can talk about that another time, but in that moment, that is a bid for connection. And if out of every 10 bids for connection, you meet at least 7, you're on the right track. I want you to imagine that you're weaving a tapestry in a relationship. And every time that the person bids for your connection, it's an opportunity for you to weave another gold thread through that tapestry. And every time you don't, you're pulling it out. All right? I want you to imagine. And I love that quadrant. There's the passive destructive and the passive constructive as well. So there's the, oh, babe, I just got into medical school. And then, well, why did you do that? You're not a good student. That is like active destructive, right? Yeah. And then the passive destructive is like, oh, cool, interesting. It's like what? What's that all about, right? So and then there's the constructive is, oh my God, that's amazing. You're going to be amazing. Oh my God, I can't wait to I can't wait to be a part of it and to support you. But that's active constructive, So there's all different types of ways that we connect. But in terms of how do we maintain, how do we keep that? It's so easy. So a lot of women that have been in my program say, oh my God, you've just saved my marriage. Literally, they've been married for years and years, but what begins to happen is you get a bit lazy. And you kind of start to take for granted that this person you've been connected from for so long, that it's almost like, oh, that bank has a lot of credit in it. I'm all right. No, you need to invest in that bank every day.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you have to invest in it, 100%. Yeah, just that small thing of like, how do you say good morning? Like, how do you say good morning to your partner? Do you just say, I'm morning? Or do you like say morning, like it's so great to see you, just you know what I'm saying? I know you got this happening today. Like I know, like me, that's what I do. You know what I'm saying? Like even walking to the park today, just like, yeah, babe, like I know you're going here today. I want you to just have another amazing day. I know yesterday went really well for you. Like just every time you do something, make sure you tell yourself how great you are. Because and that's very different to me just going, yeah, morning, babe, I'm going to the park. Have a good day. Do you get what I'm saying? Like it's completely different.
Call you later.
Yeah, literally. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And that takes presence.
Definitely.
So I think to give you a third point, then I'll give you a third one. Yeah.
Bonus,
right? Be present. That means really, really like you said, you had a great day yesterday. I know that you're up to this today. But really create the intention before making that phone call. What is your intention? Is it to connect? Is it to have that person feel loved by the end of that conversation? Why not? Oh my God, let's put a smile on that person's face by the end of that conversation. Great, done. And then you know that what you're going to do is you add value in that conversation. You connect. 100%. But for that, you need to be present, not somewhere else up in the fairies or focusing on something else.
Definitely.
Yeah? I love that.
Guys, this is serious, I'm not going to lie. We need to do another episode. That's how
it's good because we've got on right after this. So
you guys are getting a lot, Hey, let's make sure. Anna, where can they find you online? I know it's going to be in the links below, but I just need to say it because this is no joke.
Relationshipsintensive.com.
Okay.
Yeah,
and when is the next one?
The next event is the 19th of August, which is Saturday 19th of August, and that's at the Bloomsbury Holiday Inn by Russell Square.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's free.
Yeah.
It's a free event.
That's it. And have you got more scheduled for the rest of the year?
Yeah, we've got one on 7th of October, Saturday 7th of October. That's going to be in Tower Bridge area.
Brilliant.
And then the next one after that will be the 25th of November. We don't normally release that many dates ahead.
Damn, that's enough. That's fine. Yeah. Okay, brilliant. Well, guys, if you're in London, in fact, not even if you're not in London, just get there.
We've got people coming from Scotland. We've got people coming from Europe, all over the place.
There you go. So, guys, this is it. So,
done.
Do you want to wrap up the nugget of the day?
I'm not gonna lie. I've been hit a lot still in this episode. I'm not gonna lie.
He just needs a cuddle right now.
Seriously, I'm not gonna lie. Right now, I just need to reflect on what happened in this episode. This was deep. This was seriously deep. I'm telling you. Thank you, Anna. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you for joining us.
You guys are amazing.
So I guess it's down to me, but thank you so much for being on. We're gonna be filming another episode, so leave any questions and comments you have down below. But as always, guys, especially when it comes to relationships, but first and foremost, your relationship with yourself. Accept only the absolute golden best and nothing less. Dream like you're a god. Command like you're a king or a queen. And work like a slave so you'll have anything. This was episode 10 of Leadership Lessons.
Correct.
I got that correct. And we'll see you in episode 11. Peace.
Did you have to switch?
Yeah.
What?
The battery